Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story? And when you are in love with a man simply because you looked at his money and fell in love with his money first, it will be very difficult, even if your own mom will try to show you that there are red flags. This man is not okay, like what my cousin sister used to say the first time when I introduced my future husband to my family. Said he's not okay, but I never thought that whatever that she was telling me about occultism and money rituals, it was for real. I never thought I would end up telling such a story. I convinced myself that those things are not even for real. All that I saw in him was a man that had been sent to God by me. What really confused me about this man was that he was a church-going person. I said, how can someone who goes to church can end up becoming a ritualist? It is not even possible at all. So by the time that when all of these things started to happen, that was when I saw the things and I chose to ignore, because I was scared that the level of standard that I was having living with this man, if I tell this secret, share his secret with the rest of my family members, then they will tell me not to be with him anymore, in which I wanted to be with him because of the financial benefits that I was getting. And for years, I kept on telling myself that he was going to be okay. He was going to change his ways. And then we started to witness things in the house that were really scary. My daughter was the first one, because I had my daughter when I was still very young. So by the time that I moved in with this man, my daughter, she was someone that was already old and mature, who could understand the ways of the world. One day she said that, Mommy, there was someone that was standing by my window. This person was screaming throughout the night, and this person was telling me that they are going to come and get you. They are going to come and get you. You are living with a monster. A monster. I scolded my child, saying that your dad is not a monster, for he loves you and he loves me. We became part of his rituals without ever knowing. So I thought that maybe it was in their culture. Some of the things that he would do, he would make me to sleep with him. After that, he would wipe me with a certain type of a cloth, such that my private part will become so itchy after sleeping with him. But if I go back into the past, the first time when I met him, it was like a love story. I was 24. I was working as a receptionist in Johannesburg. Life indeed was tough, from rent, transport, food. It all felt like it was a never-ending battle. That was when I met the guy. He walked into our office one day. He was very confident and well-dressed. He was a doctor, and I liked him from the very moment that he walked in. He was charming, and when I found out that he was successful, I fell in love with him. On our first date, he took me to a 5-star restaurant. He ordered wine that was costing more than my rent, slipped 5,000 into my purse for small things, he said. A woman like you should never struggle in life, he said, as we were hooking up with each other. 3 months later, against the wishes of my relatives, I have moved in with him into his house in Sandton, and the house was very beautiful. I never even imagined myself living in a mansion, but here I was in a quiet neighborhood where the rich people were staying, and there were rules. The rules, I said, okay, I'm going to obey your rules. So he was like, no going into my basement, never ask any questions. Like when he goes out each and every 4th month, he said, no, I don't want a woman who will be hard on my case. Know that I'm not cheating on you. If it happens that maybe I do not come back home after the 4th month, knows that you need to know that your man is busy doing what he knows best. And if I bring my clients home, please stay in the bedroom for your sake and for my sake as well. I need to attend to those people, because those are the ones that gives us us the money. Those are the people that help us to be what we are right now. I did not even care. I was living my dream, or so I thought. So some people would come and be with him in the basement for hours and hours, and I did not even care. The first time that I heard a woman screaming, I was asleep, and then I started to hear that there was someone that was crying downstairs. I sat up and then I went downstairs. It was somewhere around 3 a.m. and then that was when I found out that my husband had this other woman that was on top of a table, and this girl, she was a young girl. He got so mad with me and he said, "What's wrong with you? You need to go back to bed." So I returned back to bed. Later on, that was when he came and he joined up with me. He had that smell of blood, even though he had cologne on him, but I felt something that smelled like blood. I confronted him again and I said, "What is going on?" That was when he said that, you see, this young girl, she came to our hospital in the afternoon, and this girl wanted to have an abortion, but those nurses, they were quite rude towards her. So I then told her that I could assist her. I was like, what the hell are you trying to say? So you mean that a patient came to the hospital where you are working, and when this patient wanted to have an abortion, they refused her. So here you are saying that you brought this girl into your home and you assisted her to have an abortion. And he was like, yes, that is what I did, and I am trying to save lives, my love. And when he was speaking with me, this man, the way that he was so confident with all the evil things that he had done, I could not even believe it. In that same place where we were staying, raising our kids, that is the place where he was having his abortions. 4 months later, he flew to his country as usual. But that night, when he flew from South Africa to Nigeria, I kept on hearing people that were speaking outside. I then had a dream. In my dream, I was shown that in the basement, there was a clay pot, and in this clay pot, there was blood. I woke up and I was scared. I then told my daughter to accompany me into the basement, and we then went there. When we went into the basement, that was when I saw that indeed there was a clay pot. I told my daughter to stand where she was and let me handle it. I went to the place where the clay pot was. I opened it up. I saw that there was blood that was in there, as if this clay pot was placed on top of a fire. For the blood that was inside of the clay pot, it was busy bubbling up and down. I could not even sleep on that day. The moment that I returned back to bed, I saw some messages from this guy. It was like, who told you to go into my basement? I could not even imagine that this guy, he had somehow suspected that we had gone into the basement. When he returned back, he was then open with me that he works with other guys that are from his country, and those people, they perform abortions, and these abortions that they do, they are not illegal, and their clinics, their illegal clinics that they set up, they are their altars. That is how they make money. So me coming here on your platform, I just want to help other young South African women out there to be very careful. If you are pregnant and if you want to have an abortion, it is far much better to go to the hospital. Here I am speaking from an experience of a woman who was once married to a Nigerian occultist who was performing all of these illegal abortions, who clearly told me that his clinic is not like a true clinic, but it is an altar. Each and every time when they do those abortions, they are not medical procedures, but rather they are sacrifices that they do sacrifice. They do sacrifice to their own gods. This man, he kicked me out of his home. He was so heartless, even though when I told him that, but we have kids together, where do you want me to go with these kids? He just said, I want you out of my home, for I cannot take care of you anymore because you have been snooping around, touching things that you are not supposed to touch. Now get out of my home so that I can fix the whole mess that you caused for me. So this is my story. Even when I told my friend about this, it was so hard for her to believe that my ex-husband, this is what he was doing. When you look at the guy, you can never even imagine that he can do something like that. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sister right there. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.